So I've heard that a ton of you get stuck in platinum, split after split after split. And I thought it was about time I break down all the ways that you guys can gain RP and climb in platinum and finally get to diamond in ranked Apex. So let's begin with how to do it on World's Edge in Season 11, since that's the current split that we are on. And let's begin with tips for going from platinum to diamond in ranked Apex. Let's begin with talking about legends, team comps, the importance of team comps, and what legends you should be playing as a platinum player. So let's begin with the first set of players that I want to talk about, which are going to be players that maybe spend a lot of time in gold and get to platinum late in the season. So these people are going to be, more accustomed to gold lobbies, which to me at least, I believe them as very organized pub matches. So you may not be worried about team comps or using very meta team comps or, very meta legends. So, and at this point, you hit platinum, these things start to matter more. Playing legends that are more meta relevant really help you climb easier and win more games, obviously. So, I want to help you guys, and I want to give you guys the tips, as well as it's going to help other platinum players that may be a little lost, don't know who to play, who to get better at, who to main. So I want to give you guys a rundown of the best legends to run on World's Edge this season, Season 11. And these are going to be Valkyrie, Gibraltar, Caustic, Bloodhound, and Wraith. And the next one I'm going to throw in there, so number 6, is going to be Octane. Octane is the legend. If you are solo queuing, you should be playing as priority. And if Octane's taken, maybe try a Bloodhound for scans. So let's go back to why these other legends that I mentioned before are good. If you're a Valkyrie, you're used for big rotations out of trouble or to the best spot or a really good spot in zone if you're outside. Also, if you're running behind the zone, and there's a choke in front of you, you can use your ult to just get out of that choke, which gets you away from maybe a possible fight on edge that you can die. Gibraltar, the next one, for his dome in all the wide open fields on World's Edge and just in general defensive coverage, his ult for cover and damage output, and he is a beast 1v1. Caustic is the best defensive legend and is amazing on this map because all the buildings are very suited for him. So he can hold a building as well as a cave or any of the other structures because most of them are very enclosed. And he's just amazing, and he's also really, really good if you can get him into an endgame. Bloodhound in fights, all the information is just amazing. Everyone's going to love to have a Bloodhound. Bloodhound's really good also in fights. And Octane is the movement legend I'm going to recommend for solo queuers. And then let's talk about Wraith. She's, again, really good for moving her team. She's also very good in 1v1s because she can queue a wave. She, deals damage and can get away safely. Obviously, her queue not being so fast anymore isn't great, but she is still very good for being able to output damage. She's still very tiny, and she's just a really good, movement legend for rotations as well. And then when it comes to the best team comps, there's going to be just a mixture of these 6 legends. Octane can really be plugged in for Wraith anywhere as well. But these 3 team comps I really want to talk about are going to be Valkyrie, Gibraltar, and Caustic. Valkyrie for the rotations, Gibraltar for cover, and Caustic for holding down end zones or buildings. Another one is going to be Wraith, Bloodhound, Gibraltar. Wraith for, again, being the aggro legend, as well as one can rotate your team with her portal. Bloodhound for all the information and scanning, and also for fighting. Gibraltar, again, for, cover defense and for fighting. And then we're going to go with Valkyrie, Bloodhound, Caustic. Again, Valkyrie for the movement, Bloodhound for the scan and information, and then Caustic for defense and end zones. These are all comps that have proven to work for many seasons on World's Edge, and they will drastically increase the RP you gain game from game and allow you to consistently win more fights and have more consistent games, no matter the end zone or where you are on the map. And if you guys want a more in-depth breakdown about these legends that I told you about or the team comps that I told you about, check out my video, my best legends and team comps video for ranked World Legends Season 11. Thumbnail will be up here. You'll see it, card as well. Click on it, go watch that as well. It'll explain in more detail everything that I just mentioned. And continuing on, in Platinum and higher, running legends that are useful to your team make a big difference. It's more important than just running whoever you think is fun or you enjoy, because believe it or not, sometimes a legend's abilities can make the super crucial difference between you winning or losing a match in the end game. So if you're struggling to win games or gain more big amounts, it might be because you're not running meta legends and you're just making it harder on yourself for no reason. Along with this, in Platinum is a time where you should understand the legend you are playing and know when to use the legend's abilities. There is nothing more frustrating than playing with people that clearly don't know when to use their abilities or how to use them for the benefit of the squad. In Platinum, you need to be really good with, I think, about 3 legends. So obviously you have options, but you have to be good with them. You have to know when to use their abilities, how to use their abilities, how to maximize the potential of your given legend, because you cannot be at the point of being in Platinum where someone has to remind you, hey, drop drone, hey, scan beacon, hey, do this. Like, it has to come naturally, and it just comes with time, but you also have to put in the effort to learn these legends. Continuing on from legends and team comps, I want to talk about one small thing that makes a huge difference in Platinum, because a lot of teams just don't do this in Plat. An easy way to start gaining RP in Platinum, and especially if you do have a team to play with, is learn how to team shoot, learn how to call out like a 1-2-3, and know how to team fight effectively together. You know, staying close to each other, having good communication, and really being able to play off of each other. You don't even have to be the most cracked individual, like, skilled player, but if you run with a team and you can have good communication, you're good at team fighting, at team shooting, you know, always eliminating one guy first from the other team and always making it a 3v2, these things are going to make you obviously have a much easier time in Platinum, and you're going to see that you're just going to start rolling teams and picking off that one guy from the other team that always overextends in Plat teams. Because apparently in Plat, especially if you're solo queuing, there's always that one guy on your team that loves to overextend because he thinks he's just the greatest guy on earth, you know. And there's a lot of not organized play when it comes to Plats. It's a total dysfunction when it comes to a lot of Plat teams, especially teams that aren't, you know, pre-mades. So definitely, if you play as a team, have good communication, work on team shooting and team fighting, that is going to be one super valuable skill that's just going to put you over the top in a lot of Platinum lobbies. And if you guys are enjoying the tips, please hit the like button, because it helps this video spread all throughout YouTube. As well as, if you are newer here, this channel is full of rank guides and videos, so all of you guys can enjoy and perform a little bit better in ranked. So remember to hit the subscribe button as well. I really would appreciate it. And let's also put this out there, you know, to continue on. If season after season you are stuck in the same rank and you don't seem to be getting any better, and you're watching tip videos, and you watch these live streams, you watch this, you do that, but you're still struggling, hey, it may be because you're just not putting in the appropriate time to carefully increase your gun skill, to just get better at the game, you know? Apex, like everything, is a skill that you pick up. You get better at video games, you get better at this, you get better at that, you know? You have to put in the time, and you're not just magically going to get better, you know? As much as watching the pros, doing things of that nature really helps your mind and know what to do in certain situations, you still have to practice it. So if you put in that extra time in Apex, you're going to see it start paying off. So for this, play a lot of pubs, drop hot. You know, it's going to force your skill to increase in the chaotic nature of just dropping around a lot of bodies and picking up whatever guns. And it's going to, again, force you to also learn a lot more, you know, weapons that you may not always use, because you're going to be dropping in chaotic environments, or play a lot of arenas. This will force you to become very good at winning 1v1s in a more controlled environment than BR. So those are just my tips to help you improve a little bit if you are struggling and seem to be just kind of stuck gun skill wise. And if you made it this far, this is my key tip for Platinum players, and the thing that I tell every single person that asks me, what is this one thing that, you know, will make me stand out, that doesn't have to do with having a full party. And that's going to be, you know, I find that Platinum players at all levels, they struggle knowing when to take fights, understanding what is a good fight versus understanding what a bad fight. I don't need you to memorize every zone. I don't need you to predict zones like the best IGLs in Apex, you know? I don't need you to be like doing all this super high level stuff. All I need you to understand, and all I need you to do, is understand, is this a good fight? Are we gonna take it, and can we win it cleanly without getting thirded? Is it gonna take too long, you know? Or if we take this fight, are we gonna get thirded instantly because there's a team like right there? Or, you know, is this a bad fight to take because, you know, we're going to be fighting outside of zone very soon? Little things like that you have to understand. Or, oh, my teammate just did 100 and something and they had a white shield. We should probably push because that's an easy knock and we're up in 3v2. Little things like that is you have to keep fine-tuning and understanding, and that comes with experience, but you also have to recognize that and work on it and be like, you know what, hindsight, I can go back, watch the game footage, or just talk it out with my teammates and be like, look, in that instance, we did damage, we should have pushed. Or in that instance, we shouldn't have pushed that because there was a team right there just waiting for us at third. So all this stuff is stuff that you should really talk it out, think about it. But that is the key ability that I want you guys to take away from this. If you learn nothing from this video, that just understanding as a platinum player, what is a good fight versus a bad fight. That doesn't mean running away from everything or charging into everything. You have to use your brainio. Alright. Before we continue, I want to have the question of the video be, what do you guys struggle the most when trying to get through platinum? I'd love to see it in the comment section, as it might help me for another YouTube short for a future video down the line. So drop in the comment section, I'll be sure to be replying. So moving on, we're going to talk about how is World's Edge played. So World's Edge has been in Apex for a while now. We've seen it at the highest levels in ALGS a lot. So a lot of zones, especially for players that have been playing ranked a lot, we've seen a lot of the same zones. In tournaments, in just our regular pub games or ranked matches. So someone that's maybe newer to the game, that's just kind of getting into platinum, is really, platinum's really where zones come into play. So you really have to start learning that. It may be a little learning curve because some players might just, you feel that they already know it, but you just kind of have to work on that. It's just something keep in the back of your mind, as you see zones, as you start learning the map and things like that, just keep it in your head. But World's Edge is a map that tends to go slower. The matches tend to be slower. It's a very balanced map, so you could have many games in Platinum where, you have many teams alive. And if this is the case, you just have to recognize this and adjust your playstyle to it. Play a little slower. You shouldn't be scared of ridiculous third parties like Olympus or Kings Canyon, but definitely understand that they are way more common than Stormway. Especially if this is maybe your first season playing World's Edge, understand that you don't have as much space as Stormpoint. So keep your fights a little bit shorter, and make sure your internal timer is, it tells you when to move on from a fight if you haven't gotten that opening. If a fight goes over, 20-ish seconds without any sort of good opening move, knock, damage, just move on, get to another spot, and keep going, because it's just going to lead to a bad situation. And something I've mentioned when it comes to this map in the past is that World's Edge has a lot of chokes into some areas, so if you don't rotate a little bit early to some zones, you might get held out. It doesn't happen as much in Platinum, happens a lot in Diamond, but it's just a good habit on World's Edge to just, if you see a zone and you see on the map that there's a few little chokes that lead and are the only way into a certain section, try and get there a little earlier, unless, of course, you're running a Valkyrie and you can just fly over that thing. But just be safe and just make sure to pay attention. It's a good habit. Now, finally, we've gotten to playstyle in Platinum lobbies for World's Edge. When it comes to the playstyle, or the one that I recommend in Platinum, it isn't that much different from what I tell Diamond level players. I think in Platinum, you can really get away with taking a few more fights without getting thirded as quickly, but definitely you have to be smart and respect the skill of some of the Platinum players. You will get beamed if you're running out in the open, and not paying attention to where you are. So you do have to respect their skill, because they can still beam you. There's some really good, gun-skilled players in Platinum that just don't understand how to play the strategic side of Apex, and that's why they get stuck here. So don't be like those guys. But I'm not gonna try and address the solo queue playstyle right now, as it differs greatly and it depends on your randoms, and it involves ratting and playing slow and getting whatever KP, blah 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 blah. So I'm not gonna address that. But back to players that aren't solo, because that's kind of what I want to cover here. I'll cover a lot of that stuff in the solo queue videos. So in Platinum with a team, take a fight early, hit beacon, and look for a fight on that rotation on the way there, or just stay edge depending on how fast the lobby's going. If the lobby's going very slow, maybe you want to just rotate, see if you hear a third party that you could take, or just try and get to zone at that point. But if the lobby's going a little faster, round 2, there's 10ish or a little bit less teams, then you can probably take a fight. So if you already took a fight at the beginning and you hit beacon and you're just well, there's 9 squads left in round 2, definitely stay edge. Maybe while you're going to a second zone, look for another fight on edge, because it's probably going to be isolated and you'll be fine, especially if you clean it up very quickly. And then once you get either this 2 or 4 KP that you might have at this point, focus for end game, especially if you play a Caustic. Caustic is amazing on this map, so you can just predict the best spot in zone, try and obviously have your back to the zone, like I've mentioned in previous videos, so that no one's behind you. Try and fight forward and just have a really good spot, and focus on winning the game. What you always want to do is survive as long as possible with some type of KP, and don't die off of drop all the time, because that's how you maximize your good games and you minimize your bad games. And with that, if you guys want more tips for climbing with a team or solo on World's Edge, check out my solo queue guide for ranked on World's Edge right here. I'll see you guys next video.